Hello everyone and welcome to this video where today I'm going to teach you about our paintbrush tool and also about our blob paintbrush tool over here in the tool section right below our polar grid tool and also our shapes tools. Okay, so first the paintbrush tool. Now as its name signifies, it creates a paintbrush stroke with our artboard. Okay, now in order to create a paintbrush stroke, we just have to click and drag it. Notice it's not just click. Okay, you have to click and drag it just like that. Okay, now after doing that, we have to make sure we keep our mouse stable, or else we will create pretty like rigid lines just like this. Okay, as you can see. Now if you are using a touchpad where you have to create like where you can create designs using your pen, you can do that also, just like I'm doing right now. As you can see, I have created my letter over here using my touchpad, or you could say an artistic touchpad, and it's pretty nice. And now if I create it with my mouse, you'll notice that it's pretty wicked. Okay, now what I'll do right now is teach you how to change your stroke color. And when you're using our normal, let's say, paintbrush over here, it will always be in a black color. Okay, so what I'd like to teach you right now, if you want to select your stroke color, you can go either up here and select your stroke color. You can go also over here, then select the stroke color that you want. But over here it will not work because this is for color fill, not your stroke color. And you'll notice that when I draw a straight line over here, it does not change its color. But if I just do that, basically select on my stroke color, you can notice that the color picker comes up, and from here you will select the blue color, and now you can notice that the blue color actually comes up, not the color fill. Okay, alright, now afterwards what I'd like to show you is basically the stroke size. And in order to increase the stroke size, you can go over here and increase the stroke weight or size. And now you'll see if I just click on it, it will show me one big size of my stroke. If I go down or right in the middle, you can see this is what it looks like. And this is the normal basic stroke. Okay, so you can do this with multiple colors. It will do the same thing for us. For example, let's say this time I tried with green. And this time you can also use the third, first and second brackets in order to increase your size as well. As you can clearly see, I'm using my keyboard third and second brackets in order to increase size and implement it on my artboard really easily, instead of using this option, scrolling down or even clicking on it to just change our stroke weight. Alright, and if you want to see more options for your stroke, you can go over here, select your weight, and then the cap over here, which is basically the starting of your stroke. You can select a round cap, you can select a projecting cap. Now what I'll do is basically go over here, select stroke, and now my stroke is over here, show options. Alright, now let's select a round cap, and for my round cap over here you can see that the projecting cap does not really apply to this that much. But if I increase the size, say I select the rounded cap, okay, now for our corners, what will happen is basically if you select a miter join, then it will have this effect. But if we select a rounded join, you will see that our joints are round instead of having like a corner over here. Okay, then if we select a bevel join, You can see that this is what happens. All right. Then the align stroke option over here has three options: the align stroke to inside, align stroke to outside. So let's go over here and select that. Okay. This is the effect for the second one, and we know the normal first one. Okay. After that, if you want to create a dashed line with a stroke, you can do that as well. So now I'm creating dashed line. So let's say 5, 3, 5, 3. Okay. After doing that, I can just easily go over here. Okay. So afterwards, we have these arrowheads to choose from, and this don't seem to be working for now. So over here, you can see that we have our profile, and here we can select our profile width, but it will not affect our stroke for now. What we actually have to do is basically use the selection tool, select this, then select our width profile, but still it will not work with it. But what does actually work with it is our brush definition. Okay, now in order to use the brush definition, we have to first select our paintbrush tool, and then here we can go and then go to the libraries menu and then select any of these brushes from below. Now I'll select the artistic brushes first, and here I want to select artistic ink, and after that I can just make it a bit bigger so you can see the effects. First we have this splatter option, and here you can see that this is what happens. Okay, then we have this option. Well, you can kind of guess where this is going, right? Okay, after that we have these straight lines which you can use with our brush, including arrow. So in order to get rid of this arrow, we can just go over here and put it to none. And now if I go back and just do this, you can see that it doesn't show any arrow. Now I can also use these strokes to create some letters. So you can see this is what it looks like. Let's decrease the stroke weight for this one by using the selection tool. Select this and then decrease its stroke. There you go. Now we can see it. All right. Bring brush tool again and put a C over here. Okay. All right, so I hope you have gotten the idea of the brush definition over here. We can also choose from different types of brushes, borders, for example. As you can see, this is an effect over here. Let's choose this one. Let's press Alt to zoom out. Now you can see that this is what happens. Let me just draw a straight line. So it is drawing a border around, as you can clearly see. There you go. Okay. So this is how you basically use our paintbrush tool. Now if we select one part over here, then reduce our opacity, you can see that this is what happens. All right, it basically reduces the visibility of your paintbrush. Okay, let's put it back percent. Now we can also add a style to this. If I add foliage, you'll notice that everything inside our fill has turned to foliage. Now let's select this option over here where we can add some more styles, artistic effects, buttons, illuminate styles, image effects. Select that, and here we can select this option over here, as you can clearly see. Okay. We can also add buttons and rollovers. We can also add some frames. And for 3D effects, you need to have sufficient RAM in order to use it. So after that, let's just close this and go on forward with our next part, which is the Blob Paintbrush tool. Okay. Now, what the Blob Paintbrush tool does is way more better than the paintbrush tool. It helps us to basically create a patch first, and then we can just use it in order to effectively use our direct selection tool or selection tool to make changes to the shapes. Okay, so for example, say I want to create an omelet over here, okay, using the Blob Paintbrush tool. First I have to select the stroke color, so let me select its color to be like white for now, because first the white background, or we can just select a bit more towards yellow. Okay, let me increase the brush size. Okay, now what I'll do is basically go over here, and if I take the selection tool, click on it, you can see that I have this option over here. And if I take the direct selection tool, you can see that I have an option to curve my image. All right, I can go over here, select different anchors, or even select the path, make it big, make it small. Everything is possible. All right, then say for the omelet over here, I will go and just use the Blob Paintbrush tool, select a bigger size, and then change my color fill to, let's say, first let's kick out, press escape, and then use this, change my color. It's okay. Then let's just draw a huge round circle over here. All right, now what I'll do is basically go back over here, and this time I want my color to be solid, so I'll select color. Let's say I select the black color now to basically make changes or borders over here. So in order to make borders, I need to make my paintbrush small, and this time I want to zoom in, so I'll press Alt and zoom in, and I'll create borders now. Oops, I forgot I have to use the stroke color. Now let's reduce it a bit more. Now let's say I made a mistake just like this. Okay, now after that, if I go over and use the direct selection tool, select this, you can see that using the Blob Paintbrush tool, I can create paths and also anchors in my lines. Okay, now say I want to move this anchor over here to there, I can do that also by selecting the anchor. Okay, then let's move it over here. Then I can also select the handles, fix them. Let's select this anchor. And for now, let's just delete some anchor points, because the more anchor points you have, the more complicated it will be. So let's just delete them. Okay, just direct selection tool, click on this. There we go, let's fix that. We can fix the curves of our lines just by clicking on them very easily, as you can see. Alright, this is somewhat okay. Let's press Alt to zoom out. And now let's create a border for my omelet as well. So let's select the Blob Brush Tool, create a border. And here you will see that sometimes I am actually moving away from the edge. I can fix that as well. Okay. Now let's go ahead and fix it. Just press Alt to zoom in, and then use the direct selection tool. Click on this, and notice you'll see many types of anchor points over here. First, I'll press Shift and click on these two anchor points, then click and drag. Just like that. I can go over here, select this anchor point to be like that. Since there's like a little path over here, I want to select this and this. Now you can see it's a bit open over here. So what I'll do is basically click over here and bring it inside. Just like that. Okay. And now I can just click on this, but you can see this anchor point over here. So I'll just move it over here. Just like that. And then now I want to fix this part, so I'll move it a bit up. Make sure you click on the anchor before moving it, or you'll have problems like I am right now. Let's select this anchor and move it a bit more up here. Set this anchor, move it a bit more down here. This one a bit more up here. This one a bit more here, and this anchor will go right over here. I'll select this anchor and make its handle go down there. Now you can see that I'm covering all of the sides almost, so I'll select this part, move it a bit up, and there you go. And now I'm done making my omelet. Let's press Alt and zoom out. I can see that this is not perfect, but it's close enough. I can just go over here using my Blob Brush Tool and create another blob over here. Let's increase the size. Okay, I want to change it back to basic, so I'll select this. There you go. Let's take a bigger one. Okay. Now afterwards, I would like to select the color of, let's say, a bit of orange, that is. Yes, there you go. And then I'd like to basically okay, then use the selection tool, select this, and bring it a bit more inside. All right, and I can select the outside part over here, and then let's say I can change the fill color as well using our block paintbrush tool. Now let's say I select white, press OK, and now you can see that this is what it looks like. Now it looks like a proper omelet, even though it's a bit simple, but you understand the idea over here. Okay, so this is how you use the block paintbrush tool. Now what I'll do is basically select this, go back here, and I'm going to trace an image with the blob paintbrush tool and then show you that you can recreate the same image with better results. Okay. Alright, this is the image I used in a previous lesson, which now I'll be using with our blob paintbrush tool in order to copy it. Okay, now it will not be perfect, but I will say that it will be close enough. Okay, first what I'll do is basically crop this image. Now I want to crop it up to this, so I'll click on apply. Now it's more easier for me to work with. So after that, what I'd like to do is go to layers over here. Okay. And then I'll add a new layer. And then over here, what I'd like to do is basically select it. And then I would like to use my blob paintbrush tool over here. Okay. Then I'll zoom in using my mouse and pressing the Alt button. Okay. Now over here, what I'd like to do is select my color and then use the blob paintbrush tool. Okay. Now let's select. I didn't want this color. Okay, so now I want this color over here. So let's select this and then put it over here. Okay, then let's select the white color. And then basically swap it and select this. My bad. Okay. Now I'm done over here. Let me put some orange color over here as well. Okay, then let me add some orange color over here for my body. And then basically color this whole section. Alright, now that I'm done, I'd like to just use my selection tool first. And over here you can see that this is what happens. And here, over here, you can see that we have the layers that are in our first layer. Okay, now what we have to do is basically after we go to layers, go to this layer over here after creating a new layer, and then select this. Now I selected this because I want to target this over here. Now here I want to go back to my normal size, and then I want to reduce the opacity over here so that I can see where I'm putting my block paintbrush on. Okay, then afterwards make sure you click on this so you can drag to move its appearance over here. Okay, if I click on that, the whole thing goes away. So let's go over here and let's start by basically testing if it works or not. Now if I select this, you can notice that when I draw anything over here, there's a path, okay, which means that I'm ready to use my blob paintbrush tool. Let's press Ctrl Z, and therefore let's select the color over here using our color eyedropper tool. Select the color and then simply use the blob paintbrush tool. Let's increase the opacity a bit. Okay, now that I've created the head part, it's already done. Let's go ahead and turn this off, and now you can see that the head part is over here. Alright, so let's toggle it back on. Okay. If I select this, you can notice that my drawing is over here. Alright, let's go back and basically use our eyedropper tool to select the color that we want this time. Since it's orange this time, so all to zoom out, and let's go ahead and use the plate brush tool. Done, and then let's do this part. Okay, now that I'm done, I'll just do that. And afterwards, I want to just check whether I'm drawing everything or not. Over here, let's go ahead and use the selection tool, select this, and then I want this to be like a blue color, so I'll select that. So after that, let me just use the blob paintbrush tool to color it blue inside. increase the size a bit. Now let's make it a bit smaller. There you go. Let's use the eyedropper tool again. Select this color and then therefore use the blob paintbrush tool to remove this part. Okay, now that I'm done, let's go back to layers over here and then let's open. Okay. Now we have to do this part, so let's go ahead and select our color over here using the eyedropper tool. Increase the size a bit. There you go. Let's draw this part over here as well. Okay. Let's see how much far we have done. Okay, now we can just fix these imperfections over here as well. I'm gonna reduce the size over here for the smaller details. Okay, then use the blob paintbrush tool to make small changes. Let's go ahead and click on this color and then use the blob paintbrush tool. Okay, I'm done with this part. Now let's go ahead and make this part. Okay, let's turn off the layers to see how it looks like. And there are some mistakes, so let's fix them. Okay. Afterwards, there will be some orange parts over here, so let's go over here and select the eyedropper tool, select that, and then let's select our blob paintbrush tool and fix that. I think up till over here, I guess. Let's open it and see. No, a bit more. Just like that. Okay, let's put it up, and yeah, it's perfect now. Now what we'll do is basically create this part. So let's go ahead and create it. A little part missing over here. Let's just join them. There. And now what I'll do is basically create the eye over here. So I'll select the black color. Select this. Press OK. And also add a little bit of white. a little bit of the shade, or I can just go over here and select the eyedropper tool, take this color, switch it, and then use the paintbrush tool. Done. Now if I switch it off, you'll see that this is what it looks like. Let's go ahead and add the orange color over here a bit. Okay. Okay, now after switching it back on again, let's create this beak. So for the beak, I need to create the top one on a different shade. So let's select this. Zoom in a bit. For now, I'm leaving out the important details because this is just for one lesson. So I'm trying to be as fast as I can. Now let's select the eyedropper tool. Select that color. And then basically create the bottom part. Let's increase my brush size. Okay, let's look at it without another layer. Okay, there you go. Done. Okay, let's zoom out. Now you can see that using the Blob Paintbrush tool, not everything is okay, but I can still do some of my effects. Let's go back over here, and this time I want to make this part over here, so I'm just going to choose one solid color for this wing over here, and then the rest of the wing over here, and then finish this video. Okay, so first let's select this color using the eyedropper tool. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and that part's done. Now let's go ahead and create this part over here. Let's layer and see. Yes, it's perfect. Okay, now if I just toggle off, you can see that I have some parts left out here. So I'll fix that later. First, let's fix this wing right over here. There you go. Okay, if I do that, okay. Now I'm just gonna make the stand where my kingfisher is standing on, and this will be relatively just one single color. So select one single color over here, and then go ahead and use this color. Just keep it up this much. Now let's smoothen the sides. Okay, let's see what it looks like. All right, that is better. Okay, now let's go back and create this claw. So I'll have to use the eyedrop tool again. Select this color. There. Okay, now I'll show you a trick over here. Basically, I'll move my layer up over here. Now you can see that my layer over here has a reduced opacity, which makes it easier for me to color my pictures as well. I didn't do it in the first place because I wanted to show to you why it is really hard doing this in a different layer. As you can clearly see, if I put it down, it will not show it. The first layer on top will always show, but if I put this layer on top, you can see that this is what it looks like. Okay, now let's go ahead and basically clear out all the parts where we didn't use our properly, and we'll just set it up like that. Okay, over here, if I select that, let's select this part, make sure you double click on this anchor and then pull it, or else it will just create bad effect. Now I can select this anchor and then move it back over here. Select this handle, move it over here. Done. Okay, and then afterwards I'd like to select this one, select this one, and then move this anchor a bit over here. Okay, and I'm done with that. Let's go ahead and select this path, and I want this anchor a bit up there. Okay, now that that's done, let's see what it looks like with it off. There are some parts over here which are still there. Okay, let's select this and then join it over here. Let's use the delete anchor points over here to delete some anchors so that it keeps getting simpler. There you go. Now I can just simply use my direct selection tool over here to basically select. Okay, that's done. Right, let's go over here and then move this pot a bit inside. Done. And let's select this anchor, move it a bit more inside. Done. Let's select this. This a bit down there. Okay. Now that that's done, let's go over here and okay. Now that I'm done, what I'll do is basically move this claw up a bit over here. Okay. Now you can see that this is what my picture looks like using the Blob Brush Tool. And what I'll do right now is basically select all of this, right click, group, okay? And then I will copy it, take it off, and then go over here in this layer, put it on. Then over here, I'll just paste it, okay? Now here you can see what the end result is using my Blob Brush Tool. And so far, it does not disappoint. It's pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but with some practice, you'll do it better. I just did it a bit quick so that I can end this video because I've already reached my limits. So this is how you use the Blob Brush Tool. So thank you for watching this lesson, and I'll see you in the next video.